And then,
He speaks first.
yes.
So you're going to speak first.
Okay. Good.
And then we'll do all the awards and then the final series. And Sergeant Major's speech is long, sir. I don't know if he told you.
Yeah. Weed maybe yours also.
It'll be cooler. I'm okay with it.
Especially if you have audience participation like you did last night. You could be here for this.
Oh, there is.
We'll make sure they don't pick it up. They don't hit the mic.
The ceremony will begin in 2 minutes. During this time, please silence all mobile phones and other electronic devices. Thank you.
So the turkey kernel portion is, so you're gonna go get her. So after I say attention to orders is where you should state because pause for people to clap, and then I'm gonna read
Commission of the Kentucky Colonel is the highest. Go get her.
because then she's next. Okay, I introduced her.
She's not coming to the podium.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to put her to the left, sir.
Yes.
Good. You can't mess it up.
You got this?
You're awesome. We should have. I lost last time.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon, and welcome to the United States Army Human Resources Command and Retirement Ceremony for Command Sergeant Major Anthony B. McAdoo. Today is part of history as we witness an awards and a retirement ceremony honoring Command Sergeant Major McAdoo after 31 years of outstanding service to our great nation. We are pleased that you are with us to share this important event. We would like to acknowledge all of our distinguished visitors, guests, families, friends, colleagues, and those watching via live stream. We would like to sincerely welcome you to today's ceremony. The host for today's ceremony is a Commanding General, United States Army Human Resources Command, Major General Thomas R. Drew. Please stand for the playing of our national anthem by Major Tyson Walsh and remain standing for the invocation by Command Chaplain Stuart Kazarovich.
prophet Jeremiah says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future." Ladies and gentlemen, I invite you to join me in prayer. Heavenly Father, thank you for your throne of grace that you invite us to boldly come. You know the beginning from the end and have placed eternity in our hearts. May this day be a special day of reflection, remembrance, and rejoicing in what you have done for and through Command Sgt. Major McAdoo in service to our nation. Thank you for the friends, family, and community that gather to support and help one another through these seasons of life. Place your hedge of protection around these wonderful people. May we rejoice together in the good times, embrace the challenging times, and walk by faith into a bright future because you have prepared the way. Now place your blessing upon this special day and bless us with your mercy and grace. In Jesus' name, amen.
Please be seated. At this time, members of the United States Army Human Resources Command Ceremonial Honor Guard will perform a very special flag folding in a tribute to Old Glory for our retiree. When observing an honor guard during the folding of the flag, you may notice how the meticulous process results in the flag being folded 13 times. You may have thought this symbolized the original 13 colonies. However, each step has a separate and very distinct meaning. The first fold of our flag is a symbol of life. The second fold is a symbol of our belief in eternal life. The third fold is made in honor and remembrance of the veterans departing our ranks who gave a portion of their lives for the defense of our country to attain peace throughout the world. The fourth fold represents our weaker nature. For as American citizens trusting in God, it is Him we turn to in times of peace as well as in times of war for His divine guidance. The fifth fold is a tribute to our country. For in the words of Stephen Decatur, our country, in dealing with other countries, may she always be right, but she is still our country, right or wrong. The sixth fold is for where our hearts lie. It is with our heart that we pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The sevenfold is a tribute to our armed forces, for it is through the armed forces that we protect our country and our flag against all her enemies, whether they be found within or without the boundaries of our republic. The eightfold is a tribute to the one who entered into the valley of the shadow of death, that we may see the light of day. The ninthfold is a tribute to womanhood and mothers, for it has been through their faith, their love, loyalty, and devotion that the character of the men and women who have made this country great has been molded. The tenthfold is a tribute to the Father, for he too has given his sons and daughters for the defense of our country since they were first born. The 11th-fold represents the lower portion of the seal of King David and King Solomon, and glorifies in the Hebrew eyes the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. The 12th-fold represents an emblem of eternity and glorifies in the Christian eyes God the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. The 13th and final fold, or when the flag is completely folded, the stars are uppermost, reminding us of our nation's motto, "In God we trust." After the flag is completely folded and tucked in, it takes on the appearance of a cocked hat, ever reminding us of the soldiers who served under General George Washington and the sailors and Marines who served under Captain John Paul Jones, who were followed by their comrades and shipmates in the armed forces of the United States, preserving for us the rights, privileges, and freedoms we enjoy today. Retiree, please stand. On behalf of the President of the United States Army, and a grateful nation, please accept this flag as a symbol for your 31 years of honorable service. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce the host of today's ceremony, Major General Thomas R. Drew.
All right. Well, there they are. I gotta find my glasses. Being old and all. All right, hey everybody. Thanks for coming out. What a beautiful Kentucky afternoon. And what an honor it is for me to host this ceremony. And thank you for letting me be a part of this special day with you and your family. I know folks aren't here to hear me speak, but I have a few things I need to say. Starting with honoring Mrs. Mary McAdoo. This beautiful lady right over here raised 2 children, both ending up leading soldiers in combat, and being Command Sergeant Major. I can tell you that is extremely unique. Thank you for creating two of the Army's best NCOs. Would you join me in a round of applause? Now I'd like to briefly describe his journey from being a 17-year-old young man in Somerset, Kentucky in April of 1992 that decided he wanted to be a soldier, to today being a 2-star nominative CSM at HRC. He joined the Army to leave his small hometown in Kentucky to see the world. And yet, the Army sent him back to Kentucky over and over and over again. And today, his active Army tour ends back here in his home state of Kentucky. All of us here at HRC are lucky that your journey brought you back home. So thank you to Major General Joe Calloway, who's sitting right there, for selecting this great NCO to lead HRC. Some things have changed about Command Sergeant Major McAdoo over the last 32 years. For instance, he used to have a thick head of hair that he had to cut at least once a week at a minimum, and he weighed 151 pounds when he joined the Army. But some things have not changed a bit. He is extremely intelligent. He is extremely dedicated. When there is hard work to do, his first step is always towards that hard work. And probably the most important thing that never changed, even as a nominative CSM, is he is a genuinely good person that puts the needs of others before himself. You can see from the program that he's been a member of just about every type of unit the Army has, and although being a human resource specialist, 75 Bravo initially, from the very beginning, everyone could see his leadership ability and his dedication to being a world-class soldier. So even 30 plus years ago, others viewed Anthony as a leader and their best soldier, and not by the job he was trained to do. This will open doors for Command Sergeant Major McAdoo years and years later. His first assignment following AIT was at 2nd Battalion, 44th 88 Battalion, the 101st Airborne Division, Air Assault, at Fort Campbell, Kentucky, where he learned to apply the skills he learned in school, but it was clear from the start that he was their best soldier, and he would be the best soldier in every unit he was assigned. His competitive spirit and his self-motivation required him, personally, to give 100% in every facet of being a soldier. So, here he is, 75 Bravo, 2480A, Fort Campbell, and back in the old SIDPERS days, for all my old HR people, you used to have to take your floppy up there to division, and they would load it, and they scored you. And you know, the story is, for CSM McAdoo, is that even as a young E3, E4, and then corporal, you know, he wanted to get that 100% rating and every month be identified as the best in the division. That's the competitive spirit alive. After 3 years and being a corporal now, he went to Germany, where he excelled once again in Army Europe's replacement company. I believe that is where CSM McAdoo began his decades-long passion with helping every soldier he ran into. After 5 years in Germany and a promotion to sergeant, he was reassigned to where? Right back in Kentucky. He became a member of 1st Battalion, 320th Field Artillery Battalion back in the 101st. He was promoted to staff sergeant a few months later, and after returning is where his leadership shined brighter than anybody else's. He was in 1st Battalion, 320th Field Artillery on September 11th. On September 12th of 2001, every soldier in our Army was now in an Army at war. Things like the code of conduct. I am an American, fighting in the forces which guard my country and our way of life, and I'm prepared to give my life in their defense. Pretty sobering, especially for young people that when they signed up, this didn't seem like it was possible, but there we were. His unit didn't get alerted for the initial response to 9/11, but by the summer of 2002, his unit started to get ready. He deployed to Kuwait in February of 2003 and prepared for large-scale ground combat operations. Everyone knows the basic story of how that operation went down. We pushed out of Kuwait, rapidly moved to Baghdad, and seized the enemy's capital. Unless, of course, you were in the 101st Airborne Division. There, your mission was to push through Baghdad and seize the town of Mosul in the north. That was a transit of hundreds of miles in enemy territory, and there he was, the NCOIC of a staff section in the 101st Division Artillery, leading and inspiring soldiers to keep them going. For those who weren't there, it truly was like a scene from a World War II movie. Everyone is dirty and dusty, almost no rest, no time to eat, just go, go, go. And it wasn't a 2-hour trip to the movie theater. It was weeks and weeks of movement convoys where explosions were commonplace, big mushroom clouds on the horizon from Air Force bombing campaigns were all around you, tracer fire cutting through the night, both incoming and outgoing, before they established their assembly areas, the places we put up tents, and that's where we supported the seizure of Mosul. But there, once static, they were the subject of rocket and mortar fire and ambush attacks on their outpost. That is where his reputation as an inspirational combat leader began. His soldiers and his commanders trusted him because in the chaos of that operation, he was calm, he led from the front, and he completed every mission. His soldiers were ready for that arduous environment, and they performed magnificently. I know we have a lot of combat veterans out here in the audience today, and you'll know what I mean when I say you can tell if you've got a good combat leader by spending just a couple of minutes with their soldiers. You immediately know what kind of leader they have. Well, that was CSM McAdoo during his tour in OIF 1 and the 11 months that followed. He was promoted to Sergeant First Class during that deployment and returned a proven combat veteran and an NCO that maintained the highest of standards for himself and his subordinates. Like I mentioned in the beginning, when others talk about Command Sergeant Major McAdoo, they speak of leadership, his mission focus, and his ability to inspire those around him. It was these qualities, along with volunteering for airborne school as what I'll term an older soldier, that put him in the path of firsts for the Army. You all know him. You know he's been an HR professional his whole career. But when he took responsibility for the 7th Special Forces Group Support Battalion, people had no idea what his background was. But he instantly became the best NCO in that battalion. And as the CSM of 7th GSB, Group Support Battalion, he inspired his subordinate soldiers to reach and maintain the same standards as the Green Berets in 7th Group. And to be honest, having had an outside view of the Red Empire, also known as 7th Group, at the time, I can tell you that his soldiers in the GSB were more disciplined than the line SF battalions. Based on his demonstrated ability to lead soldiers in combat and within special operations, Anthony was then selected to be the first 42 series to command a sustainment brigade in our Army, where he deployed his brigade to Afghanistan, and of course, they performed brilliantly in an extremely complex environment. And finally, we are here at HRC, where his personal leadership has helped the Army navigate successfully through a period where we have less soldiers and more requirements. Bottom line is that Anthony is a man that can complete any mission, solve any problem, inspire others to do their best, and of course, with an infectious smile on his face and occasionally a little flex of his muscles. And now your tour of duty is complete. 32 years by the time it's done of doing the right thing every day. I can say without hesitation that you've done way more than your fair share. And your family's sacrifice is unmeasurable. The citizens of our great nation owe you an enormous debt. You served them faithfully your entire adult life. So as a citizen, thank you for your dedicated service and for making me and the Army better. So when you're walking the streets of Belton, Austin, Dallas, Texas, in retirement, probably wearing a cowboy hat, probably have a little closely shaved or groomed beard that's partially gray. I want you to know that as you pass your fellow citizens on the sidewalk, know that you are better than every damn one of them. Godspeed, my friend. Soldiers first.
Today, we pay special tribute to Command Sgt. Major Anthony McAdoo, United States Army, upon his retirement. The retirement ceremony is a time-honored tradition. In days gone by, when a soldier retired, their entire regiment turned out to honor them with the farewell review. Many of these time-honored customs are continued today. We now invite Command Sgt. Major McAdoo and his wife, Mrs. McAdoo, to move forward for a very special recognition of her personal contributions. Mrs. McAdoo is being presented with a certificate of appreciation from the 40th Chief of Staff of the Army, General James N. McConville. At this time, Command Sgt. Major McAdoo will receive a certificate of appreciation from the Commander-in-Chief, President Joseph R. Biden. The certificate reads, "I extend my personal gratitude and a sincere appreciation of your grateful nation to you for your patriotic service to our country. Your bravery and dedication in our armed forces helped protect your fellow Americans during a critical moment in our history and contributed to a world of greater security and growing prosperity. Your devotion to duty, honor, and country, in keeping with the long traditions of the finest military in the world, embodied the American ideal of selfless service. Our nation owes you an incredible debt. Your commitment and the example you set will inspire future generations to serve with pride and keep their country secure. You represent the best of our nation, and I join our fellow Americans in saluting your honorable service. I wish you happiness and success in your next chapter. Signed, Joseph R. Biden, Jr., Commander-in-Chief." Major General Drew will now present Command Sgt. Major McAdoo with the Distinguished Service Medal. Attention to orders. To all who shall see these presents greeting, this is a certificate that the President of the United States of America authorized. The Distinguished Service Medal to Command Sgt. Major Anthony B. McAdoo, United States Army, for exceptionally meritorious service in a duty of great responsibility, 12 March 2021 through 15 September 2023. Given under my hand in the city of Washington, D.C., this 11th day of September 2023. Christine E. Wormath, Secretary of the Army. The Commission of the Kentucky Colonel is the highest title of honor bestowed by the Governor of Kentucky. It is recognition of an individual's noteworthy accomplishments and outstanding service to our community, state, and nation. A sitting Kentucky governor noted in a letter to Kentucky colonels that he commissioned individuals as Kentucky colonels as the governor's way of recognizing individuals for their service and accomplishments on behalf of others. If you are a commissioned colonel, you are a Kentucky colonel for life. Ladies and gentlemen, please bear witness to Mrs. Kelly Pendleton, Kentucky Civilian Aide to the Secretary of the Army, presents Command Sgt. Major McAdoo with the Kentucky Colonel Award. Okay. Our nation proudly salutes Command Sgt. Major Anthony B. McAdoo, U.S. Army, retired. Right. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce Command Sergeant Major Anthony B. McAdoo, U.S. Army retired.
Yes, sir.
I know a lot of you heard me say before, I came in the Army, and I'm going to talk about all my friends here in a minute too, but I came in the Army to get out of Kentucky. And as the CG stated, the only way for me to get out of Kentucky is to retire and go to Texas, so here I am today. One thing you guys will hear, talk about, people talk about me, motivate, whatever you want to call it with different individuals. Because I let everybody push themselves to more than what is that they thought that they could do. And it's easy to do it as a leader because all you gotta do is push them. Once they reach that goal right there, they're like, hey, I didn't know I could do that. So I would tell you right now, the impact obviously that I've tried to have is on the Army. But what we have here today, and they don't know that I'm gonna say this about them, but what we have here today is some young service members that are serving in the Army who, through my wife, Bevan, have become kind of like my little competitive children right here. When I call your name, I want you to stand up. And this, I'm doing this to show you all that this is my joint operation. So now that I'm done with the Army, we're going to try to take and have an influence all on DOD. But I'll tell you, the first person we have here is Sharif. Sharif, stand up. Sharif is Sharif first started out, and he had a problem. He made a wrong decision because he came in the Marines. So then we were able to influence him to switch over to the Army. And now in a few short years, he is a staff sergeant in the United States Army as a cyber operations specialist. Stay standing. And next we've got Jamie. We haven't gotten him yet, but he is also a staff sergeant, but in the Marines, where he is serving as a contracting officer. And then lastly, we have Maurice in the Navy. In the Navy, like I say, we got to find an Air Force. I'm still kind of weighing whether or not I want Space Force in there too, but right now we got to find someone else. But I will tell you, this morning we went to the gym. Of course, you guys know it doesn't matter what it is. I don't try to be competitive in anything, and they do the exact same thing. So we're in the gym this morning. So as I was getting ready to prepare for the speech today, I sent them a text after we got done, after I smoked them. I was number one. But I sent them a text and I asked them, I say, what is your job? And the intent of me asking that question, what is your job? I wanted to know exactly what I just told you right now. But the response that they gave me was, I'm a leader. I'm a motivator. And that is awesome. Thank you. You're still gonna lose every time. All right. Like the CG always does to me every time I go out and Major Nocella, the CG always talk, wait, we think the thing is over, and he'll be like, all right, so Major, close it out. I'm like, uh-oh. So this is just like that again. But really, real quick, today before I begin my speech here, and this other part of the ceremony, I've been given this ultimatum to mention this next individual in my speech. The consequences of not fulfilling it, this request are inconsequential. Doesn't really matter, but whatever. However, to ease my transition into the retired lifestyle, I will comply. Kenneth Earl Duff, brother-in-law Esquire. Now, that's all I got. Requirement is fulfilled. All right, now let's get on. All right, good afternoon. Obviously, General Drew, phenomenal. UNK, I absolutely loved working with you. Distinguished guests, soldiers, civilians, and family. And as you guys know last night, family is a lot more than just the relatives that I've got. I've got family over here, but I've got family right over here also. You have picked the right day to be here. You are a witness to the first stage of my metamorphosis from a soldier to a retired veteran. Mark your calendars for this event. Today is the start of the day that I begin to grow a beard. Whatever, Kenny. Okay, it might be a goatee because I can't really get all the stuff on the sides right here. But hey, it's starting to grow facial hair. So, Will and Clark, You talked about me yesterday, so get your popcorn ready because we're going to be here for a while. Hope you ain't got no meetings to go to. And those of you who knew my father, it's the ones all over here, you know, y'all thought he gave long sermons and prayers. Well, I tell you, get comfortable in your seats right there. Did Tara make it? Okay, yeah, Tara and Krista, y'all better not fall asleep because we know what happens when we get home if you do. We all remember that time when Regina, my sister, came home late and told Daddy, I'm 18. We know how that worked out. Okay, now the constant from the beginning of my career, and I got to get through this, over 31 years ago, having been to every location on the map I've been stationed, attending every ceremony from Fort Jackson, South Carolina, to Fort Bliss, Texas, to Eglin, Florida, to Fort Campbell, Kentucky, ending here at Fort Knox, Kentucky. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the creator of all of this right here, my mother, Mary Lee McAdoo. Not looking over there. Not looking over there. I love you and I thank you for having and loving me. Those years of making do with what you had to take care of us prepared me to make the most of every situation, to not complain about what I didn't have, but completely focused on the limited resources available to accomplish any mission. That example has been the foundation of my military career and has enabled me to take care of soldiers while delivering higher than expected results in any situation. It was very difficult, dangerous, and trying at times, but what doesn't kill you always makes you stronger. It's as simple as that. Maximize the limited resources, take care of people, stand up for your people, and they will make the impossible happen because they know you care and will give all you have to support them, even when it means sacrificing your own personal needs and wants. Mom, you gave that to me. So now we're going to give a quick presentation to her, and then included in this box that we've got here are my dog tags. You know, they were given to me and every other soldier on their first day in the military. I wore these around my neck every day and through 3 deployments to Iraq and Afghanistan. The intent of this tag is to identify a soldier's body should something happen. The tag would then be returned to the surviving family member of a uniformed soldier, but today, I get to be that uniformed soldier delivering it back to you. Told you we're going to be a while. All right, here we go. Next, a pain in my you-know-what from birth to my first duty station all the way till now. My strongest competition. Yeah, I was watching you, but I couldn't get away from this one right here. That pushed me past my own limits just to try and be better at anything. Enlisting in the National Guard, and these dates may be wrong because you said your whatever prior time is jacked up, but enlisting in the National Guard and then switching to the active Army in 1998, the 15th Brigade Support Battalion Command Sgt Major of the 2nd Brigade Combat Team, 1st Cavalry Division at Fort Cavazos, Texas. My sister, Command Sgt Major Michelle McAdoo, also known as Sissy. You are the main reason why I made E9 and was competitive for senior positions. That competition from the beginning of life through our early years of military set the stage for me to be ready for increased levels of responsibility at the highest levels of the Army, culminating as a HRC CSM. Thank you for the continued push and competition. I know that it still won't stop in retirement. By the way, I beat you at that, and I know you don't care about that. So yeah, I guess I love you too, whatever. We've got something for you, and I'm not taking it. Figure out how to fit in the truck, Kenny. I've got a plaque for you. Included in this plaque are the things in common that we have accomplished in the military. Drill Sergeant, Battalion Command Sergeant Major, First Sergeant, Air Assault School, among other types of training. You couldn't just let me have anything to myself. I'm proud of your career and smile inside and out when someone asks me if we are related. However, I get a little sick to my stomach when they ask me if you're my wife. Ah! All right, then there's luck that came to my life at the perfect time. Being newly assigned as a battalion Command Sgt Major, I was just getting to feel like I made it. I knew what I was doing, and I just needed everyone to follow. But I found that quickly there was more to it than that. In comes a beautiful woman with no military service history who has a different lens and perspective on life. This person brought me down to size and offered me alternative ways to look at taking care of people and leading an organization in different ways outside of military thinking. That tweak to my leadership style and unwavering support is what allowed me to continue elevating to higher levels of responsibility. I give you the incomparable and gorgeous Miss Victoria Bevan McAdoo. Hey, sir, can you help me out here? So we're gonna, if you bring a general in there, then it's obviously official. It's big stuff here. So we've got a presentation we're going to give you here, and then we'll explain it later. Not later, but later means today. Go ahead, read.
Stephanie? Stephanie?
No, this is for the
Oh.
appointment.
Appointment. I don't have that.
All right, I got it. Go ahead, I got it. Okay, what we just did is the CG just gave her a appointment certificate to CSM. Now, CSM, Command Sgt Major, and Sergeant Major are the same pay grade, but they have a different level of authority and responsibility. Sergeant Major Atkinson took mine today. The Sergeant Major is knowledgeable and expert in their craft, just as the CSM is. However, the Sergeant Major provides recommendations and support. So today, as I retired, the CSM just appointed her to Command Sgt Major as I'm a Sergeant Major. So at the end of the day, when there's something going on and I'm giving all my expertise and my guidance, whatever it is, same we've always done, is I provide the guidance, but the CSM gets to make the decision. So that's what she got presented today. All right, last on my list, and the reason why I continue to re-enlist the Army and serve for so many years. So much time has been taken from you. You have made so many sacrifices from a baby through adolescence to adulthood, and you have had to start over so many times. I am in awe of the resilience you have displayed throughout my long career that has encompassed your entire lives. And I thank you for supporting me as a soldier and a father. I shouldn't have looked over there. I'm good now. My beautiful daughters, Kiana, Michelle McAdoo, and Alicia Danielle McAdoo. None of these 31 years of military service, many of which was time spent away from you, has been in vain. Alicia completing your senior year in college and preparing for medical school, and Kiana having completed your culinary arts degree and now recently being hired as a certified dietary manager, means you're in charge, that's what we do. I am proud of each of you and lucky to be able to call myself your father. You know how much I love you. Now that my career is coming to an end, both of you know from firsthand experience, and I'm going to turn into an immature adult and what that entails. So get ready to deal with it. We've got a couple things here for you. Now, what's in this bag represents the time past that I did not spend with you throughout my career. But a watch. A watch keeps ticking forward. So from this day forward, I can give you as much time as you can handle. Also in the bag, there's an IOU for a return trip to your favorite duty location. So when we hit the ground, we're going straight for donors. Thank you. I love you all. Now I've got to recognize the rest of my family for being here. And this is family talking about as far as for relatives. This is historic. I think it's because none of y'all, especially Mom, thought that I was going to retire. When the invitations went out, there were so many of you who stated, you know, Lord's willing, I'll be there. I'm planning on coming. I'll probably try to make it. Didn't think much of it because, I've had quite a few ceremonies throughout my career in different parts of the world. However, distance, time, and life have made it difficult, if not impossible, for many of you to attend. However, I always knew that each and every one of you supported me and was proud of my career. So I truly thank you for that. They don't give y'all no hand clap. Now to my brother Ronnie, sisters Renita and Regina. Regina made them late. Thank you for making this day a priority in your busy lives. I believe this is the first time we have all been together along with Steph since the passing of our father, the Reverend Joseph McAdoo, over 13 years ago. It's great to know that this event is just as important to you today as it was that day in our lives. I know he is watching over this celebration today and proud to see us whole. Thank you for being here. All right, please. Yep, interactive. Family, stand up. Shut up. I truly am blown away with your physical presence. Now maybe you believe that I'm somebody important in the Army. So please give me my respect at family reunions, funerals, and holiday celebrations. No need to call the room to attention. Just the formal announcement of hear ye, is all I need. But seriously, I thank every aunt, uncle, cousin-in-law, and close friend for being here today. So let me specifically say, so I don't get talked to, my Aunt Nellie, Aunt Yvonne, and Uncle Walter. Thank you all for coming out here today to support me. Y'all can sit down now. Now, I must also recognize my mother-in-law, Taryn, and sisters-in-law, not by choice, Brooke, Beijing, and Breeze, the 3 Bs, who are also military veterans, and brother-in-law, Delante, who serves this country in a different capacity outside the military, within the fire department. It's amazing to me that you all are here today to support me, your favorite brother-in-law. Sorry, Bacchus. I'm not gonna let you forget it. All right, and to my military family, my brothers whose friendship has lasted for years and will continue past our Social Security years. Sergeant Major retired Anthony Wilson, Sergeant Major retired Robert Hickson. You guys have been to me forever. I think my family knows you. And of course, this family includes your wives, Nicole and Yvette, who are also just like my sisters. Will, I'm not gonna cry like you did last night when you talked about me. I'm gonna get through this one.
You already cried, bro.
No, this don't count. I wasn't talking about you. You cried talking about me. All right, hey, Will, we've been road dogs since 2000. When you and Stacy gave me a ride, you told the story wrong, but when you and Stacy gave me a ride to ANOC because I had a flat tire, I'm sure you all sensed my greatness and were just trying to eliminate the competition early on. Hey, too many memories that I will never tell anyone else, including those escapades with Pinckney. P, you here? Where you at, Pinckney? There you go, right there. The escapades with Pinckney, Stacy, you and I. And thank you, I'm getting away from that. And thank you, Nicole, for feeding me since the Sergeant Major's Academy. Retirement does not stop that responsibility, and it doesn't take it away from you. It comes with the friendship. It did hit. It is what it is. Since 2008, as first sergeant at Fort Jackson, our friendship and family grew even stronger when we were together in Germany. The Bum Rush Brothers, as they used to call us. Since you were always a little bigger, but I was always leaner. I would do all the yapping and trash talking. Basically, I'd be the front man, and then hide behind you when things got too intense. Just like Spike and Tyke, the bulldogs from Tom and Jerry cartoon. You know who was Spike and who was Tyke. And then Yvette. Yeah, my drinking partner who just recently started buying beer. She used to have me buy beer and then say that, Hick, was going to pay me back. But the problem is she knew that her husband Hickson would never use his money to buy any type of beer, no matter who it was, even me. So Yvette, you still owe me, and I will be collecting for years to come. And to the junior soldiers and NCOs encountered throughout my career who have now become senior leaders in the Army, and a lot of you are here today, and I appreciate that. I am proud of each of you. I feel I've done the most important job of a senior leader, and that is to teach, coach, train, and mentor junior soldiers to take our place. I thank you for making me look good by being awesome at your job. All I ever did was empower you, had your back, and then held you accountable for reaching your full potential. Your success is the success of the Army, and I am honored for those of you who are here and the ones that are not here. Thank you. And a lot of you have always heard my McDonald's story when I came into the Army, but I will tell you a special guest that I have here today is one who went through that with me, and it's my childhood friend who started with the same humble beginnings of not giving anything and having to work for everything. We started together playing basketball in the middle of the street with a goal nailed to a phone post or that makeshift goal that you broke down in the backyard on a dirt pad in the backyard where the three-point line was a foot away from a metal building, storage building at the property line of our neighbors. But then we progressed to working at McDonald's. I was best there too. And after that, that's where we took different paths. Putting yourself through college while working a full-time entry-level job in an automobile corporation. Over the years, you too climbed the corporate ladder to reach senior management of the same corporation you started in as a team member assembling parts, which is equivalent to starting as a private in the Army. Two completely different routes, but shared successes. We have remained best friends for all these years, not only because we grew up together, but because we both refused to let our humble beginnings keep us from pushing and fighting to beat the odds. You would have been just as successful in the military because you refused to accept defeat, no matter the cards that are being dealt. I give you Mr. David Paul Wilson. All right, you can sit down, Dave. And just like, Dave has visited me at many different locations. He don't know anything about the Army. But he's been at so many different locations throughout my career. And, bro, I thank you for your friendship. We're going to continue to do this right here over and over again. We got to get you into the other family over here, too. Now, a transition to the future. And I need you guys to play along, okay? Don't mess up my retirement ceremony. I am proud to announce that I am a self-proclaimed original founding member of the Escarpment Homeowners Association Golf Cart Club, Texas jurisdiction. For those of you who have never watched Sons of Anarchy or Mayans, it is equivalent to a motorcycle club. Let it be known that heretofore it is referred to as the HOAGC, Golf Cart Club, the Second C is silent. There are only 3 prerequisites to be considered for this prestigious organization. 1, you must be a veteran. 2, you must live within 3 square miles of our headquarters. And 3, you must be fully committed to and in possession of a bald head. Now, I would like to recognize our fellow members here, and you guys have to come up here. So please come up here and I'll call your name. Now, our prez. Yeah, I'm finna get you. Who meets all the prerequisites except for 1. But he has he has an approved religious exemption for it. Plus, he's the only one that's got a golf cart. My newest best friend, not sure that he knows that yet, and neighbor, Harold Goodhair Hall, a retired Army First Sergeant. You just go right here. Hey, I got to get to where I'm at in here, okay. Okay. His leadership is represented by the Command Sgt Major rank on this reflector belt. I'm using the reflector belt because, I don't know, we've always used reflector belt and had to wear it in the Army. Not sure why, I guess it's for protection or something. But I need to say, we're going to get the rest of the members here in a second. It doesn't matter. As my wife says, if it's used by soldiers, it's got to be military grade. It means it's good. And he is accompanied by his wife, who is also a retired Army First Sergeant, Sheila. Where you at, Sheila? You don't have to come up. You just raise your hand. There she is back there. And my new sister. Now, the next founding member, is our events coordinator, who fancies himself as the haberdashery king. We're still waiting for him to design our... But seriously, I think this guy, even when my sister was deployed, he's been to every single one of my ceremonies since the first time he snuck in my house at dark many years ago. Don't worry about it. I'm not going to get the details of that, all right? He has been presented with the reflector belt with the first sergeant rank on, because we have no resources, and as every first sergeant knows, Top, you better figure it out. And to prove that we are already looking to the future, it's all about seeing in the future here, and growing our membership, we have a prospect. Where are you at? There you go. Otherwise known as an apprentice trying to earn his cut. He is prospecting because he lives about 2 miles from our headquarters. His duties include driving us really fast and scary to all field trips outside of our jurisdictions. And just so happens his wife is my sister-in-law, retired Army captain, whatever. I give you Bacchus, Big Beard Boville, an Army veteran. Accompanied by his wife, Brooke, an equal pain in my you-know-what, as my sister Stephanie. They are evil twins. Now there's one more individual begging to be a part of the Homeowners Association Golf Club, but he meets only one of the requirements, so it's a long shot. Just like the Army, you have to be fully committed to our bylaws and rules to be a part of it. So he's going through the vetting process right now, which involves driving me to Texas for his initial screening. I give you my cousin and Army veteran, Isaiah Braid My Hair Harris. He is being presented a reflector belt with PFC rank and worn out Velcro because he's still trying to figure out the difference between a golf cart and a Little Tikes 12-volt battery-operated vehicle. I know what everybody's asking right now. What's my title? Well, so what had happened was there was a secret meeting held to fill a critical spot within the HOA GC. In order to attend and be able to vote, you had to have a security clearance, a secret clearance. As y'all can probably tell, this group either has an expired clearance or they probably couldn't get one. But guess what? There I was to save the day. Mighty Mac was on the way. So I graciously represented the club, because I still have a clearance, cast our votes, and it was a unanimous decision to install me, Anthony McAdoo, as the VP. Look what I got here. Sergeant Major rank to validate that decision. So ladies and gentlemen, this is my new disabled Army band of brothers.
Come on over here.
But no, true, that's another great family. We already got plans already, as soon as we get to Belton. Now for my last message, a sermon that some HRC employees accuse me of giving. Not a chance, Chaplain. Success is rooted in making the most out of the hand you're dealt, not the hand that you think you should have. Later in the game, you have options to get rid of some bad cards to improve your position. But as long as you continue to focus on and work with the hand you are dealt, you will always make the most of it. Over time, that hand will get better if you are patient and you stay the course. From childhood to Command Sgt Major, that has been my game plan. No matter the field of your profession, as long as you do the most with the hand you're dealt, you will breed and cultivate success. Leaders and people set themselves apart from their peers by being able to solve problems with limited resources. So in simple terms, when life gives them lemons, they make lemonade. As I always say, be the best at whatever it is that you do. Successful people don't just sit around and waste time worrying over what they don't have, whether it be authority or whether it be resources. They acknowledge it, and then they make the most of it. continuing to move forward no matter the obstacle. Their thought process is focused on leveraging what they have and developing innovative ways to produce the best with the hand they are dealt. Over time, that hand will change. Resources will shift, authorities will change, the environment will change, demands will change, new opportunities will arise, and people with their differing personalities will come and go. But what will remain constant and what you cannot control is change. Those who fight and reject it are doomed for failure and will take all those under their care with them. They will have to fold their hand because they refuse to change their cards when given the opportunity to improve. This signifies surrender with no chance of winning or surviving. Successful people take advantage of change by applying the relevant aspects of it to revolutionize within their field. They are not tied to doing things the way it has always been done just because it has worked in the distant past, especially when it is proving to be unsuccessful, ineffective, or inefficient in its current form. This change can come in many forms, to include technology, reorganization, culture, leadership, money, whatever it is, you name it. A successful leader is always looking at the intended outcome, not placing the highest value on their own personal gain or what they may have to sacrifice. Increased revenue, maximum retention, decreased overhead, improved efficiency, employee and customer satisfaction are a few examples. This is true of a leader in either the military or the corporate world. They challenge the status quo when problems begin to arise, and are not afraid to adjust even when they are comfortable with the current processes. If you want to be a professional athlete, you will need to change your eating habits. You will need to increase your training. You will need to adjust your social life. You will need to play by the rules and learn how to use them to your advantage. If you want to be a senior manager in a corporation, you will need to learn to stay up to date on new technology. You will need to develop relationships with people that you don't even like. You will need to solve problems with limited resources. You will need to change your thought process from a team level to factoring in the company-wide impacts. If you want to be a senior leader in this Army, you will need to live the Army values even if they are not a part of what you personally believe. You will need to adjust your priorities and change your communication techniques to mesh with your supervisors. You will need to change your delivery when interacting with different demographics. You will need to factor in the current environment and culture and adjust or change for the purpose of meeting the intended state, which is to enable our Army to fight and win. Where you start and with what limited resources are afforded you is just the beginning. It's the first hand that is dealt to you and is the start of a game. Own that bad, ugly, unlucky hand and don't waste time blaming others or the dealer for it. Focus on figuring out how to use it to your advantage. Keep playing the game. Be patient while maneuvering to improve your hand. Always focus on where you want to be when this long game ends. Now, this Army game is now over for me. But I will tell you, as I turn my cards over today, I am proud as to where it stacks up against others. In the beginning, I was dealt a hand that didn't include cards for money, a college education, military knowledge, or leadership skills. My hand, like so many others, consisted of only love, support, and opportunity. So over the years, I played that hand. I continuously transformed to be relevant in the present at every opportunity. I swapped cards many times to try and improve my hands. Sometimes I was dealt a setback, but as we all know, that was only a challenge and opportunity for a comeback. I always looked to the future and sought ways to adjust in order to continue marching towards the goal. That personal goal was to improve myself and provide long-term opportunities for my immediate family that I never had. Check. My professional goal was to serve in positions that allowed me to take care of soldiers, increase inefficiencies in whatever job assigned, and have a lasting positive impact on every soldier that I encountered. Serving as a Human Resources Command Sergeant Major was not in sight until late in my career. Never did I know that my professional goal would reach the heights to where I was able to have an impact on every soldier in the United States Army. So that's a huge check. So those two goals are now complete. So if y'all tell me right now I'm closing, you good? When I raised my hand 31 years ago, I swore to support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Although I will no longer be on the front lines with soldiers, I want to look each and every one of them in the eye
and promise that I will support and defend them as they continue to defend our freedoms both at home and abroad. I will tell the story of their daily lives. I will tell the story of their daily lives. I will tell the story of their sacrifices, and I will aggressively defend them against anyone who tries to devalue what it is that they do for you, for your family, and for our great nation. I am now and will forever be a soldier. I thank you all for coming out here today. Soldiers first, and farewell.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for the Army song. The words are printed on the last page of the program. March along, sing our song. We're the army of the free. Count the brave, count the true, who have fought to victory. We're the army and proud of our name. We're the army and proudly proclaim. First to fight for the right and to build a nation's might. And the army goes rolling along. Proud of all we have done, fighting till the battle's won. And the army goes rolling along. Then it's hi, hi, hey, the army's on its way. Count off the cadence loud and strong. For where we go, you will always know that the army goes rolling along. The United States Army Human Resources Command would like to extend a special thanks to today's attendees and those watching the live stream. This concludes today's ceremony. Upon exiting, please go to the receiving line and join our crew in thanking Command Sergeant Major for his service.